Today we're going to talk about planning your trip to Iceland. Iceland is an incredible country. It is so filled with natural beauty. There are a million different waterfalls, and if you're looking for the perfect mix of adventure and luxury, Iceland is the place to get it. The infrastructure is well built out for tourism, and it is extremely easy to get around. So let's jump into a quick lay of the land. For Iceland, you're going to notice, and I'll expand this map here real quick, that the whole thing is actually centered around a ring road, as they call it. So it sort of spans the perimeter of the island. And, it can take a while to get around the entire island. So just keep in mind, like, if you want to do Iceland right, you need at least a week, if not 9 to 10 days on the ground. You could easily spend 2 full weeks on the ground in Iceland if you want to go around the whole thing and actually take your time doing it. So that's one thing to note, right? So we spent about 9 days on the ground there, and what I want to do next is quickly give you an idea of the areas we spent time because unlike other sort of destinations that we might um, have guides for, this one's the entire country, right? So to start, you'll certainly fly into Reykjavik. That is the only place to fly into. So when you fly into Reykjavik, your options are explore Reykjavik at the beginning of the trip, or you can explore Reykjavik at the end of the trip and spend more time. Like you just have to figure out where you want to spend more time in Reykjavik. Reykjavik is really the only major city. There is a lot to do there. There's a lot of good food, much better food than you would ever imagine. Being in Iceland for a country that's that far away from everything else, so just start to get a feel for what you want to do. We started our trip in Reykjavik. We spent I think like just a day there, and then we went around the rest of the country. Came back and spent another day in Reykjavik. So what we did was we started in Reykjavik. Then we went to the Golden Circle. You're almost certainly going to want to do the Golden Circle. Everybody almost for sure does the Golden Circle. It has a lot in there. It's easy to hit in one day. Thorsmorg, which is sometimes confusingly spelled in the Icelandic language with a P, or it looks like a P, you're not going to want to skip on either, right? Thorsmorg, we're going to tell you more about that and show some photos from it, is gorgeous sort of land from like a different planet almost. And there's also some beautiful horse farms and stuff like that you can stay on, which are perfect for viewing the northern lights. If you have a 8 or 9 day itinerary on the ground, you're going to want to head all the way east to the glacier. You're going to have some of the best hikes you've ever seen in the world out here. You'll be able to hike the glacier if you want to do that. And there's just a lot of attractions out here. The diamond beach is out here, breathtaking natural beauty. You will not want to miss this. Then you double back, right? So we actually ended up going from the east all the way to the west, northwest peninsula of Reykjavik. And Snaefellsnes is the name of it. It's very difficult to say, but I wouldn't sleep on this one. This is absolutely gorgeous. This is why I think everybody needs at least 9 days on the ground in Iceland because we were moving quickly. If you want to see the Reykjavik area, the Golden Circle, Thorsmork, the glacier, and Snaefellsnes, you really need 9 days. If we had more time, and we'll get to this as well, we would have gone to the West Fjords, but we already were packing so much in. So without further ado, that is the lay of the land. Let's get into some of the must-dos. So must-dos, there's so many, right? We've got just a handful of them here, but the glacier hike was really exceptional. So this is a glacier that's actually out by, I believe, Vatnajökull. So Vatnajökull is the big national park, which is the glacier's name as well. This is the biggest glacier in all of Europe, I think it is. So there's, it is melting quickly though. So, if global warming is something you're worried about, certainly I'm worried about it, then go see this glacier because it is, a very accessible glacier for folks who are in the Northern Hemisphere. Just gorgeous. We actually saw a sheep at the top of the ridge here when we were on the glacier because the sheep roam free during the summer months. They're not sort of kept on the farm. They can just go roam free, and then the farmers actually collect them at the end of the year, which is really cool. So that's the glacier hike. The lagoon is in front of the glacier, so it's kind of like I don't know if it's the melt pool from the glacier, but it is basically on the glacier, right? There's a lot over here, this is a picture from the lagoon. You can see there's actually a boat out here, so you can take a tour of like kind of the cabbed off icebergs in the lagoon pond. But we just, seeing it from the shore is just as pretty as well. When you're out this way at the lagoon, you're going to see something called Diamond Beach, which we'll get to, and that is basically right next to it. So, even though that's not on the most touristy area, you might as well do the Glacier Lagoon and Diamond Beach together because they're right next to each other. Now, Thorsmork is out sort of like in the middle south of the country, so this is actually sort of like just southwest of the glacier. So you could either do this before you go out east or after. We did it before. One of our favorite things, right? This we spent a little bit more on, but they take you out in a Super Jeep, which looks like this, and it just looks like a painting, right? There's hundreds of waterfalls on the way out here. This is a hike that we did. Looks like a painting. The hike was incredible. The colors of the natural landscape are just high contrast. These are not edited photos by any means, and there's so much to see. You can see some glaciers from here, from this hike, and actually it was just like an incredible lunch that they provided as well. It's about $500 for two people total. I think some of the Game of Thrones was shot in this valley out here, so again, it's really neat. And then I would say Skogafoss, we'll skip over the east because we have a whole section for that, but Skogafoss is down by Vatnajökull Glacier as well. This was easily the best sort of rainbow opportunity to see rainbows, I guess you would say, anywhere I've ever been in my life. I could literally see the beginning and the end of the rainbow. It was absolutely stunning. No pot of gold was found. Otherwise I wouldn't be recording this video. But you start to just appreciate Iceland for how truly dense it is in terms of the density of breathtaking vistas and waterfalls and natural features. And on the way up this waterfall, you hike stairs they built to the top of it. There's sheep on the hillside, and when you get to the top, you see like the double waterfall or the double rainbow in front of the waterfall. It's just, I think this happens a lot. I don't think we just got lucky. I think this is like, it's sunny a lot in this part, and because of the mist, it off the waterfall creates this rainbow thing. There's also the Black Sand Beach, which is kind of out east by the. It's actually, this is closer to Thorsmork, right? So this is kind of like outside of Vik, on your way back from being in the east towards Thorsmork, and here is where you have what's called sneaker waves. So the sneaker waves kind of like every once in a while will just sneakily, like, there'll be this huge wave, and you're gonna have to make sure you don't get caught in it and swept out to sea. But they have like a little alert system when you go down to the beach, so you will be alerted if there is a sneaker wave, which happens like on a schedule every hour or two. But there's these great basalt columns you can see here, and this cave is massive. You can see the people on the beach here. This is a really cool cave to check out. So definitely recommend this as well. Other things that we did, a lot of these are just like waterfall hikes that were truly stunning at the time. They're all a little bit different, but again, I could click on any of these, and these are all photos we took in. You can walk behind some of them. Let's see here. Diamond Beach. Diamond Beach is great because Diamond Beach has these like ice sort of like chips on the ground, and they look like diamonds, right? So against the black beach, it's truly stunning. And again, this is not an edited photo. This is the Black Sand Beach against the sky, and you can see the mountain, the glacier here, which is Vatnajökull. This was an incredible beach, unlike any beach I've ever seen. So that's Diamond Beach. Thingvellir. So Thingvellir is in the middle, right? Thingvellir is in Thorsmork, which would be like your day 2, right, or 3 if you spend a day or 2 in Reykjavik. And Thingvellir is great. I mean, it's kind of hard to skip it. Like, it's not as incredible as the rest of Iceland, but it's nice. I wouldn't skip it if you're going to go past it anyways. I would say next up is there's some geysers to check out. Gullfoss, Kjarkreitur. Those are okay. Hundafoss was cool, right? So Hundafoss was out by Vatnajökull as well. Again, there's so much out by Vatnajökull, but the contrast between like this meadow and the glacier is just stunning, right? So you're going through this hike, it just looks like you're walking into a painting. So I would really recommend Hundefos. I think my favorite hike I've ever done, like literally anywhere in the world, is King, right? So this is in front of the lagoon in the Diamond Beach in Vallejo National Park, right? So these waterfalls are like 1,000 feet tall, right? You're hiking along, and you're seeing at one point two of these things like on top of each other at different levels, and there's a photo of that that's not in here because it's kind of blurry, but absolutely incredible. Like this would be, do not miss it. It's a bit of a strenuous hike. Do budget like 4 hours and make sure you don't get caught in the dark because that would be dangerous, but absolutely stunning. Hronfisar, and I think Fisar actually means waterfall in Icelandic, but this is like this is a must see as well for waterfalls. This is when you're on your way back west from being out east towards Snaefellsnes, towards the peninsula. So if you're on your way to the West Peninsula north of Reykjavik, you would stop by here. It looks like just like water pouring out of a bathtub, like everywhere, right? It literally waterfalls everywhere. So cool. Really recommend that. Kirkjufell was in the Game of Thrones, I think, as well, and that's like kind of the pyramid-shaped mountain that's on the Western Peninsula. So, that was pretty cool as well. And again, there's so much in here. The national park out west, Snaefellsnes National Park, very hard to say. This was pretty, and again, I would say you could skip this, but again, like it's just got like really nice like houses and stuff like that. The Blue Lagoon, which everyone's really heard of, that's a must do. And then Botsnodiller, again, these are really difficult to say, was pretty. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a must do. And then the hot springs. The hot springs I would do on your way back from the Western Peninsula to Reykjavik. So just to spatially kind of situate you, you could go up here. This is like your day 7, 8. You go back through here to Reykjavik on day 9, so you can hit this on your way down. It's about a 2-hour drive from the west to the Western Peninsula to Reykjavik again. Events, we actually didn't do any events when we were there. In general, if you consider the Northern Lights an event, you would want to go in either the fall or the spring because that's when it's most likely to happen with the geomagnetic sort of schedule. There is this thing called a fall sheep roundup. That's one thing I will point out. There's also a lava show, which we can get an opportunity to go to in Vic. That's a little more commercially oriented, so we didn't feel like we had to do it. But the fall sheep roundup happens across the whole country. So if you want to do this, it's only in the second half of September and or middle and end of September. So just note that basically what happens is all the farmers let their sheep out in the spring. Iceland's about the size of the state of Ohio in the U.S. They roam around the entire country, and then at the end of the year in September for winter, the farmers have to round them up, and they know how to find them based on area tags. And so they just round them up across all these different sites all over the country, and you can just kind of see them do that. Now, to the must-eat section. Now, Iceland, we were really shocked by the level of quality of the food. So there's a lot here. Some of the heavy hitters, I would say, for sure, are sumac. Sumac was the most flavorful food we've had almost anywhere. It's sort of this Mediterranean fusion. It's run by this chef who has also, I think, runs Ox, which is also on this list, in Reykjavik. And again, it was notable for the flavor. It was excellent, right? Dill is Iceland's first Michelin star restaurant. We did go here as well. The cocktails were stunning. The food was very much like sort of farm to table style, and more fine dining, smaller portions. More sort of unique food. But if that's your vibe, I would check it out. It's one of the better. It's one of the best restaurants in Iceland. Ox was a speakeasy. It's also a restaurant in Reykjavik. I would absolutely recommend this to everyone. We met the coolest bartender we've ever met here. This is an actual shot we took of his little sort of bar in front of the restaurant. The restaurant itself is behind that bookcase. You can see the little Michelin Guide plaque on the bookcase. So the restaurant's kind of the hidden component, not the bar, but it's all kind of a speakeasy, right? He made a popcorn infused drink of some kind. It was unbelievable. It had like peat monster whiskey in it, and we had the best time at Hogs. So I really recommend that. Freedomar is kind of in the middle of the country, and this is near the Golden Circle. So if you go on the Golden Circle, you should stop by here. Know that it can take about a half an hour to get in if it's busy. But they grow most of the tomatoes for the entire country here in this giant network of greenhouses, and they make a menu that's basically completely tomato based. Right, there's everything on the menu has tomatoes in it, and inside you can see like the grapevines throughout, and it's just really cool. The sleeper hit, I would say though, is if you're out west in Snaefellsnes, at the very tip, there's a national park welcome center. And inside of that is the best food you'll ever have at a national park welcome center. This is a fine dining level meal for like $25, and it was just so delicious. So, really was not expecting it. We came upon it completely by chance, but this was fantastic. Okay, so on to my favorite part: where to stay. We stayed at a lot of different places. Reykjavik, when we first got there, we stayed at this Apotek hotel. The Valhalla yurts, that was unique. I would say it's a must-do. We were really wanting to stay in a yurt, and we had choices of like staying in a bubble where you like have the whole sky open to you, and a yurt did the yurt. I wouldn't say we need to necessarily do that again, but if you like thought of the yurt, it's cool. Just know that you're going to be showering in an outhouse. Ones that I would write home about: Landjajar Horse Farm. So this is where we first saw the Northern Lights, and you literally sleep in a field with the horses, but it's not like you're camping. It's like an actual little Airbnb cabin. So you have all plumbing, electricity, and everything like that, but you're literally waking up to the horses. So that was really cool. And if you want, I think the guy who runs it's like traces his lineage back to the Vikings, and will take you out on the beach on his horses for a tour of the beach. Hotel Badir. I would say this is our favorite spot, right? And this is out west. It's another reason to go out west to the Western Peninsula. The whole thing, again, like I keep on using this phrase, but it looked like a painting, right? This is a shot we took from the window of the back of the hotel. This looks fake, but again, another shot we took. And it's just like this older, revamped hotel at the end of the world, and it's just gorgeous, and it's reasonably priced, a few $100 a night. This is almost certainly where you would want to stay if you're out west on the peninsula. When we ended our trip, this was our most expensive stay, the Reykjavik edition, and that's a Marriott property. It was great, like it was fantastic, but it doesn't have as much character as Hotel Badir. And if you're out east, there aren't that many options. Right? There's not that many hotels out east on the glacier, but Foss Hotel was excellent, and it's a little bit more expensive than other options, but it's a beautiful property. They've got a great spa, great hot tubs, and that'll run you about $440 a night. Iceland's not cheap, so on the budget front, do expect to spend about $1,000 a day. And if you want to do everything and explore and enjoy all the natural beauty of Iceland, you can definitely do it for cheaper. Where you would cut down on budget, if you wanted to do it for cheaper, is definitely the hotels that you stay at, and where you eat, right? So again, some of the activities are expensive, but they're not really that out of hand. Our most expensive activity, I think, was the glacier hike. Time range, I would say, again, we talked about this kind of a lot already, but you'd easily spend 2 weeks in Iceland. Probably don't spend fewer than like 8, 9, or 10 days on the ground. And I would go in the spring or the fall, right? Next time we go, we probably go in the spring because we already went in the fall. But if you don't go during those sort of equinoxes or solstices, I always get them mixed up, you will probably not see the northern lights. So just know that. Logistics, it's really easy to get to Iceland, especially if you're on the East Coast. There's a bunch of direct flights. We flew from JFK, to Reykjavik, and the name of the airport's Keflavik. It's just south of Reykjavik, about like 30 minutes. And that was not too bad. And the flights were relatively cheap when we got them for being an international trip, at about several $100s. Splurges, again, some of the stuff that we splurged on. Blue Lagoon. So Blue Lagoon is very touristy, right? Everyone's heard of it. It's one of like the 7 man-made wonders of the world, and or natural wonders of the world. But it's like it's packed when you're there. There's a lot of tourists, but it's so big, it almost doesn't matter. It's so unique that it almost doesn't matter. So I still would recommend going to the lagoon. I actually recommend going to it on your way out of the country. It's something to look forward to. It makes you, kind of gives you the opportunity to relax before you fly out. And so that was, we liked that we did that. On the wish list, I won't go through all these, but just you could do so many things in Iceland. It's just so packed with natural beauty. It's an awesome place to visit. So there's bubble hotels, there's domes and glass lodges you can stay in. There's a lot that you can do. Probably the one thing I won't call out is the West Fjords. If we had time, there's this beautiful Airbnb in the West Fjords that is just this cute little cabin on the edge of the world that we absolutely would have seen. So if you click here on the West Fjords, you'll see that link right there. For resources, a lot of the stuff that we looked at was Reddit threads, Airbnb experiences, and just browsing around Instagram, TikTok, and piecing together our knowledge of the country. It probably took about 20 to 30 hours. Hopefully, this gives you a good head start on it. If you do go, you'll want to probably keep the Aurora forecast handy. There's also apps on the App Store that do this, just so you can get a feel for are you just want to stay out to see the Northern Lights or not. And then I will touch on this. I don't normally touch on this, but you do want to make sure you pack correctly for Iceland. It is cold, but it's not actually frigid. But you do need to have layers because the weather can kind of change at any time. So take a look at this. You'll want to have several different kinds of layers. And you'll also want to make sure that you have a good understanding of how many hikes you're going to do, because that will impact how much stuff you can fit in your bag. In the gallery, we've got some great videos. I think the ones that I would play for you are glacier. So I believe my wife just drinking the glacier water directly on the glacier. I think this is awesome. And this is Splurges Canyon, right? So this is you can't quite tell the scale of this, but it's about 1,000 feet tall, that waterfall, and it's just the most incredible hike. We almost didn't do that. So, and that's it. So hopefully this gives you a good head start, as mentioned, on your trip to Iceland. And I would just, if you are debating whether to go or not, know that it will be one